At 73, she thought living alone was her badge of independence until she collapsed in her kitchen and lay there for 14 hours with no one to notice. Just a few miles away, 92-year-old Elellanena Chen was dancing, laughing, and playing games with her chosen family, healthier than she'd been at 80. Same city, same age, same beginning. Widowed, alone, determined to age with dignity. But one lived longer and happier. The other almost didn't survive 73. What made the difference? Not supplements, not wealth, not lucky genes, but who they chose to live with and how they redefined family after 70. And if you think aging alone is fine, look at what's happening in Japan. In 2024 alone, over 22,000 elderly people died alone, unnoticed, a national crisis called kodokushi. One 76-year-old woman said, "If my neighbor died, I'm not sure I'd even know." So the question is that the future you want? In this video, you'll discover the 4 living arrangements Elellanena tried over 22 years, the one model that added 7 healthy years to her life without nursing homes, and the community she built from scratch when there was no family around to help her. What she found might rewrite everything you think about aging and who you'll choose to grow old with. Life after 70. Is living alone freedom or a risk? At 70, Elellanena Chen, recently retired librarian, was still living in the same house she had shared with her late husband for over 3 decades. He had passed 2 years earlier. Her children lived states away. Her friends were slowly disappearing from weekend brunches and birthday calls. Still, she held her ground. "I don't need anyone." She was proud of her independence, her clarity, her health. But maybe she was just one of the lucky ones, lucky to find out late, because soon her body began to quietly push back. Her blood pressure spiked, her sleep disappeared. And the real damage? It didn't show up on test results. It hid beneath smiles. The truth is, older adults are experts at hiding loneliness. And when they disappear, they don't go loudly. They fade quietly, like what's happening across Japan today, with kodokushi, a term for elderly people dying alone and being found weeks or months later. No one noticed, no one checked. "I was alive," Elellanena recalls, "but I wasn't really living." It was in that moment she realized, if she wanted to live longer and live better, she had to live differently. No more aging in place. It had to be aging with people. And this isn't just about old age. I remember someone close to me, a sister figure, diagnosed with stage 4 lung cancer after a single coughing fit. It was late, but she caught it in time. Today, after treatment and regular checkups, she's thriving. Her husband, he now volunteers full-time, giving back in gratitude. That story taught me something. Connection saves lives, whether through checkups, conversations, or simple presence. Because really, if you're living without showing up, what's the point of being alive at all? Multi-generational living, when family turns into pressure. For many older adults, moving in with their children feels like the obvious solution. No more worries about power outages, slippery bathtubs, or loneliness during long weekends. It'll be easier, they think. I'll be close to my family. I'll feel safe. I'll be useful. At first, that was true for Elellanena. Dinner was filled with laughter. Her teenage granddaughter looked up to her as a living archive of wisdom. She helped with dishes, gave advice. She felt finally needed again. But then, something shifted. Her daughter Sarah began casually asking, "Mom, want to come with us tonight?" What began as an invitation started to feel like an obligation. Elellanena began saying yes even when she meant no. She felt guilty for wanting space. Sarah, meanwhile, started making decisions for her meals, her medical appointments, even her bedtime. "I didn't feel like Eleanor anymore," she recalls. "I was becoming grandma, a supporting role in a life that wasn't mine." Then came the breaking point. One night, she offered to contribute to household expenses. A simple gesture of respect. Sarah smiled and replied, "Mom, you don't need to worry about that." But to Elellanena, it didn't feel generous. It felt like being silenced. Living with the people you love, she says, doesn't always mean you're living the life you want. And the truth is, her story isn't rare. According to AARP, 68% of multi-generational households face deep emotional strain within the first year. Not because of a lack of love, but because of invisible expectations, blurred boundaries, and unspoken guilt. We grow up believing parents should sacrifice. But as we age, shouldn't we be allowed to define our needs instead of suppressing them? What if the solution isn't more sacrifice but clearer conversation? What if instead of quietly pulling away, you asked, what does our life together look like without either of us losing ourselves? What if mutual respect started with one sentence? I want to belong here, not disappear here. Has your multi-generational living experience been a dream or a silent struggle? Tell us in the comments. And if this resonates, share it with someone navigating that exact boundary right now. Roommates in old age, from strangers to soulmates. I've read countless comments on this topic, and it made me wonder. Maybe the question isn't who's the most convenient person to live with. Maybe it's who shares the same way of seeing life. Because every time we move out in silence, because our children see the world one way and we another, we're not just choosing solitude. We're slowly disconnecting from what we need most, understanding. Dorothy was a morning person. She loved gardening, breakfast on the porch, sunlight. Elellanena, a night owl, quiet, loved books and soft jazz. On paper, they shouldn't have worked, but they shared something deeper, the need for independence without isolation. So they made a roommate agreement more detailed than any dating app profile. Who cooks which meals? Can guests come over? How much space is truly private? Are politics and religion off the table or open for discussion? And then something remarkable happened. It worked. They split costs, reducing financial stress. Dorothy cooked breakfast. Elellanena handled dinner. They didn't need each other constantly, but each knew the other was there. There was no drama, but there was companionship, quiet presence, and peace of mind. Dorothy taught me this, Elellanena says. Family doesn't have to be blood. Sometimes it's a stranger who respects your silence. Their 2 years living together became the healthiest, happiest since Elellanena lost her husband. And when Dorothy eventually moved closer to her grandchildren, there were no tears. Because Elellanena knew she had just learned how to live with someone without losing herself. So now I'm curious, what values or boundaries matter most to you when living with someone? Drop them in the comments, and let's build the roommate guidebook we all wish we had. Co-housing, a self-chosen village for aging at 75. Elellanena heard the term senior co-housing for the first time. She laughed. Sounds like another cleverly rebranded nursing home, she thought. But curiosity led her to Sunrise Commons, a 24-unit complex where every resident had their own private home, yet shared a garden, a communal house for meals and meetings, and even a chicken committee. What she found there challenged every assumption she had about aging. It didn't feel like a place where life ended. It felt like where something new could begin. She joined a 1-week trial stay. Mornings were for yoga and gardening side by side. Afternoons brought group discussions, what's for dinner, who's organizing game night. Evenings were optional. You could eat alone or gather at a table of 12, jazz music in the background. There were no nurses in uniform, no buzzers, just neighbors supporting neighbors. One person still drove and offered rides to the market. Another helped with tech for the group. Everyone had a role. No one was a burden. But still, something held Elellanena back. This place was almost too perfect. The schedule was tight, the rhythm precise, the community beautifully interwoven. And yet, a part of her still craved space to drift to withdraw when needed. I realized something, she said. I didn't want to live inside a community. I wanted to live next to one. Close enough to feel connected, far enough to feel free. Because once you've built inner happiness, the right community can amplify it, but it shouldn't replace it. What would your ideal co-housing village look like? A book club in the garden? Jazz on Tuesday nights? Let us know in the comments and tag a friend you'd want in your future chosen village. Chosen family, the people who choose you back. After years of experimenting living with family, with roommates, and in co-housing, Elellanena finally uncovered what truly matters. It was never about where you live. It was always about who you choose to live life with and how you show up for each other. At 78, she stopped searching for a place to settle. Instead, she started creating something that didn't exist yet, her own circle of chosen family. It began with one small, intentional step. She moved into a cozy duplex in a walkable neighborhood. Then she invited her longtime friend Martha to rent the unit next door. They didn't share a house, but they shared proximity, purpose, and care. And then came the village. 6 more women joined them, each one living alone. each one carrying her own story of loss, change, or reinvention. Together, they formed not a club, not a nonprofit, not a retirement plan, but something far more radical, a community built on choice. Each woman brought her unique gift. One drove them all to doctor's appointments. One was the tech guru who fixed their phones. One cooked legendary Sunday dinners for everyone. They built a group chat. They called every morning with a simple check-in. You good today? They took turns hosting monthly adventure days to museums, concerts, picnics. And when someone had a stroke, they cared for her as if she were their sister. No one is obligated to love me, Elellanena says, smiling, but they choose to, and I choose them back. I don't need to be taken care of. I just don't want to face life alone. The village isn't a solution, it's a signal, a reminder that we can rewrite the definition of family at any age. No legal documents, no shared blood, just shared presence, shared joy, shared choice. The village isn't just a concept, it's a choice to become the kind of person who naturally attracts connection, like a blooming garden that welcomes butterflies and bees, because what we plant, we harvest. If you want kindness, plant it. If you crave joyful conversation, speak it first. If you hope for appreciation, start by thanking those around you. Just like you can't plant cherry seeds and expect lemons, you can't expect warmth, care, or laughter if you don't sow those seeds in your everyday life. Be the community you wish you had, Elellanena often tells others, and you'll be surprised how many people quietly wanted the same thing too. Now it's your turn. If you could create your own village today, who would you invite? And more importantly, what kind of energy would you bring to that table? Let's fill the comments with ideas worth planting.